Hey guys, how's it going? It's Alex of Coyote Star Astrology, and this is my weekly forecast for the week of May 13th, 2019. I hope you are doing well, and I hope you're ready for a very transformative week because this entire week is really encapsulated by Pluto. We start out the week on Monday the 13th with the Sun trine Pluto, and we close out the week on Saturday the 18th with a beautiful full moon in Scorpio. So you can see that the entire week really has this magical, alchemical, transformative nature to it. And we start out the week really feeling that. I think it's going to be really positive, and I think it's going to be mostly an internal process that will later greatly impact our external world. As we know that internally is where everything begins, our perception, and our perception is going to be going through a major shift, particularly with regards to what's important to us truly. Sun trine Pluto. We are ready to transform. We are willing participants to work with Pluto. Pluto, the master alchemist, who will literally burn the bridge we're standing on in order to get us to leap to the other side and stay very much on our path towards expansion, evolution, and self-improvement. He will not let us stagnate. If we do wish to stay stagnant and stuck in a previous state, he will force us. He keeps the wheel of karma turning. So we're really feeling that. We're really feeling the push to grow. And a lot of this has to do with purging and detoxifying. I think a lot of this is purging the residual energy left over from Venus in Aries and Mars in Gemini. Both of those planets will switch signs this week on the same day. Venus will leave Aries and enter Taurus, where she's much more grounded and practical and romantic and classy. And Mars will leave Gemini, where it's a bit shallow and very caught up in who's who and what's what and possibilities and different points of view. Mars will leave Gemini and enter Cancer, where it's much more in tune with its vulnerability and its heart space, its emotion. Mars in Cancer does not want to meet a bunch of new people the way that Mars in Gemini does. It doesn't want to explore lots of different options. It wants to feel safe and secure and held. It wants friends that feel like family. It wants family. So you can see how we're moving into a more authentic place than we've been in for a while. And, at first, Venus in Aries and Mars in Gemini was fun because it really sped things up, and we were a bit sick, I think, of the lethargy and the dreamy sleep state we were in when Mercury was retrograde in Pisces. So having those two planets there for a moment was really energizing, and it was exciting, and we were really thinking about what we needed. But I think a lot of us lost our focus or lost ourselves a little bit along the way. And we're going to be moving out of that energy this week because both of those planets moving into the next sign is really generating a more wholesome energy, again, focused around quality. Who and what is actually going to go the distance with me? And kind of returning to remembering what our true intentions are. I think that Venus in Aries and Mars in Gemini might have exposed to some of us some not so attractive aspects of our personality, places where we may have lost our sense of self or, whilst we were being necessarily narcissistic, while Venus was in Aries as we were sort of figuring out what it is we want to do. Now we're coming into a place of remembering that we're really here to be of service and what that actually looks like, coming into a more altruistic state of being and returning to friendships and relationships after going on that inward journey where we really want to connect again. Mars in Cancer is about vulnerability. Cancer is the crab inside the shell, as there's this soft inside that carries a lot of childhood wounding, ancestral trauma, this type of thing. So Sun trine Pluto, I think, is really going to be about detoxing a lot of that residual energy and coming to a more raw, pure state, accentuated by this very intense full moon in Scorpio on Saturday the 18th. I think a full moon in Scorpio is always going to be intense because Scorpio is a very intense sign. It's very magnetic. It's very penetrating. It really dives deep and it exposes our shadows and our subconscious. And a full moon is a climax or a culmination of energy. It's the crux of the energy of an entire lunar cycle. So, given that this is a full moon in Scorpio and it's in opposition to the Sun conjunct Mercury in Taurus, I think we're really going to be inwardly looking at our values, Taurus, our ideas of right and wrong, the guidelines through which we live our life, and whether or not we're living up to it. And if not, the Scorpio full moon is here to shine a light on that. Mars in Cancer is here to be vulnerable enough to admit that. And simultaneously, we have Venus in Taurus conjunct Uranus in Taurus. Uranus, the planet of breakthrough and change and revolution, conjunct Venus in Taurus, our values. So during this full moon, I think we can be prepared to see what we deem valuable in our life shift dramatically, and be prepared to transform like the phoenix, detox the parts of us or the values that we suddenly realize really aren't that important, are not in alignment with our true path of service, which I think really comes down to intention. Our value systems are really supported by our overall intention. Checking in, what is my intention right now while I'm in this earthly body? You know, I might want all these experiences and I might want all of these things. A lot of this energy is about financial abundance because both Taurus and Scorpio deal with money. And we had a new moon in Taurus to start out this lunar phase. And now we're coming to the climax of that phase in Scorpio. So I think that this is a full moon where we can definitely either receive some financial abundance that we've really been aiming for, or having some breakthrough insights about how to do that. And again, coming back to intention, I think a really magical way to do that is to ground and get back in touch with what our real intentions are. What would I even do with the money that I want if I had it? I think that those are important questions to check in on. And there's definitely a sexual nature to this full moon that can't be denied because both Taurus and Scorpio are very sexual signs. Taurus is very sensual. Taurus is about experiencing the earthly pleasures via the senses. And Scorpio, of course, is very erotic. So, and we've got Uranus in there with Venus. And when Uranus is dancing with Venus, things get very experimental and very new. And Uranus really asks for the freedom to explore. So, coupled with Mars in Cancer, which is really about experiencing a new level of primal vulnerability and exposing more vulnerable aspects of ourselves, I think that this can be a really amazing breakthrough for intimate relationships. Experiencing a new level of intimacy through honesty and vulnerability if both partners are evolving at the same rate and are willing to be flexible and share and grow. Highly transformational week, guys. I hope that you enjoy it. I'm wishing you guys a very transformative full moon. And if you would like to reach out to me for a reading, my email, as always, will be down below. And if you have enjoyed the music in the background of this video, I will put information on how to find that down there as well. All right, you guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it, and I will see you next week. Happy full moon in Scorpio.